back to Get With The Programming. I'm Chase Ingram.
I'm Captain America.
And along with me is Bill Grundler.
Wolverine.
And welcome to our recap of 23.2. A and B.
And B.
And B, which...
whatever that might be.
I was not expecting that at all. Clearly with our guesses.
Nope.
Not at all.
Nope.
Space Wolf.
Space Wolf.
Wex is in the chat. What's up, everybody? We're going to be recapping 23.2 A and B. We may or may not be joined by John Young.
Yeah. What the heck, man?
At some point in time, he has to be on here, and now he's not even on here. So we'll see. I know. Really, I want to frantically get this done in 30 minutes because Savan's podcast apparently goes in
Oh, we'll lose everybody. We'll lose everybody.
Well, yeah. When the account drops to 5, we'll know.
Well, we're gonna fluff up the crowd for Savan. That's what's gonna happen.
The professional Savan podcast fluffers, known as. Oh, we're like that. What is that horse they bring out to get the studs or the?
Right.
They bring out the horse to get the mare ready for the stud to come in. Right? What's the?
I don't know.
It's basically like the horse's.
You're talking about the horse? Are you doing a horse fluffer?
The horse version of the friend zone. Yeah, that's a thing.
Couldn't you just stayed with the porn fluffer? At least that's kind of hot. We didn't have to go equine.
I mean,
Texan. Texan over there.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, well, we got a lot to get into today, and we'll be here for just about an hour. Bill's got some things to do. We had to rearrange our schedule as we wanted to, but just wanted to pop in if you guys are just watching. But I'm rocking that new OG tee.
What are we going to call it? We're going to call that neon lights?
I don't know.
I think it looks like neon lights.
I like neon.
It's like a neon blue.
Something like that. But these will be coming out. I kind of want them to be our semifinals release.
Those are sick. I like them.
Yeah. Oh, there he is.
Hi.
He's like, hey, I'll be 5 minutes late. I was like, don't worry, we're going in 35 minutes. Like, I'll still be 5 minutes late. Mr. John Young, welcome to the show, brother.
Thanks for having me.
All right. We have talked nothing about what we're about to talk to yet, but recap-wise, we'll recap what the event was for 23A and B. And it was as simple as a two-parter. Part 1, 15-minute AMRAP, 5 burpee pull-ups, 10 shuttle runs, down and back being 1, 25 feet down and 25 feet back. After each round, adding 5 pull-ups until your time is up. After those 15 minutes, you have 5 minutes to establish a 1-rep max thruster from the floor.
It sounds so easy.
So easy, so simple.
We're all CrossFitters, right? You just do burpees, you little shuttle sprints and thruster. That's it. No big deal.
Simple. When Boz was first going through this test, he put in a bit more animation to it. He's like, hey, we used to do this and now we're doing this. It's like, oh, we got a little bit extra, not just what it is. Or that was pretty cool. And then when he went to these 5 minutes and he was starting to hint to a thruster, I thought for a second he was going to bring back 11.3.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just clusters for 5 minutes afterwards.
Yeah. Well, I had that one act. That was part of mine. That was one of my repeats.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that one.
I agree. I think that would have been really good. The weight would have been sufficient so people could actually do the movement correctly, and it would be all right.
Now, I can't remember how they scored it. Was it just 1 rep, or did they have half reps that year? You got 1 for the clean, because technically it was a clean and jerk or a squat clean and jerk, but everyone was just doing clusters.
I think for some reason I only remembered them being full, but I know what you're talking about. Okay. I think they have done clean and jerk where they have split it.
I'll look it up. Oh, that might have been.
Oh, it was in the regionals. They would do
toes to bar one. Remember that one in 2013?
Could be.
Anyways, that's what I was like. Oh no, you're not going to do that to us, are you? No. Oh yeah, no. You got 2. Let me see. Yeah, you got 1 for the squat clean and 1 for the jerk in 2011. Dang. And the reps that they had back then, I'm looking at them and they're high 80s.
Yeah.
For the women, 88, 90. For the men, 11:13 or 11.3. It was.
And what was the weight for that again?
It
160.
was
165.
5 and 115.
Yeah.
Some top scores for the men, about the same. So you're looking at 80 something.
I really like that one.
That
I
one-
remember my legs, like my
Okay.
legs still remember the pain from that.
Yeah.
That sounds
11 years
devastating,
later.
honestly.
It was nasty.
I mean, that would have been actually that would have been great.
Yeah.
Like that 2-parter, you got your 15-minute, your 5-minuter, but it's actually like work capacity under fatigue. Ugh.
You didn't enjoy this two-parter?
Well, I didn't really get to do it, so
Yeah.
with one arm. All right, but let's get to this. Okay, we have a part A and a part B. We'll start with part A. Just off the bat, when I look at part A and I look at part B by themselves, I'm cool with it. It's cool. Hey, let's test a heavy thruster. Cool. All right. Let's do shuttle runs and burpee pull-ups. Oh, I didn't think we'd see burpee pull-ups. All right. Let's just go to work. It's not sexy. It's not appealing to watch, but it's not a bad test on first
Paper.
view. Yeah.
Right. On paper.
On paper, it's also not
On
a good
paper,
test. The rules,
it's yeah. I honestly
look over here to the
and-
right, it says there is no tie break. On paper, not good.
Right. So that this I think is a great workout, but a not great event because of the way that it's set up. It's a great training tool, but as far as what you're looking at, just like we were talking about, the tie breaks, because you have the majority of your time is going to be spent on shuttle runs, and you can have a lot of people all on the exact same shuttle run, which is going to make people have the exact same setup. And I mean, until we got into different like left-handed versions of strategies you should take on this event, which was really, really cool to play with. I mean, it's kind of you set the general consensus is you set the pace and you go. I mean, even the difference between Pat and Roman, when those guys were going, Roman looked way better shape in that particular event than Pat did, and he only beat him by a handful of reps. It wasn't by very many at all.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right. It like cool workout. But the second that I saw that, I was like, oh, there are going to be a ton of ties. So like one rep is going to equal a big jump on people. But how do you do that on the shuttle runs? How do you do that?
Yeah. John, when you go ahead, take it.
It's not hard to just say the tie break is the weight you lift either. I don't know why they didn't just have a tie break both ways.
But again, it wasn't that. Did you say that on the review show?
It was either me or Brian.
I think it was you, and then Brian had actually liked that suggestion where like the tie break for 23A is 23B, the tie break for 23B is 23A.
That's easy. That's perfect.
And that's not hard.
No. But that one piece, and we'll carry that into the rest of the conversation, is this is something that we've seen happen, and I don't know where the ball keeps getting dropped is. It's good to a point, but it's like you didn't think it all the way through. Like, how could you not think through testing that you're going to have a lot of people that either one lifting the same amount of weight or very close? I mean, unless granted you have the partial plates and stuff like that. But I mean, generally speaking, you're going to have clusters of people in each weight every 10 pounds or whatever. Same thing on the rep scheme. You're going to have everyone that's pretty dang close. So how can you not have a tie break for that? How can you make it to where one rep equals 800 places, or 500 places
spots if you're in a bottleneck.
Right. Even worse, like lower down the line, obviously not maybe in your top 20, but when you get into like the leaderboard where there's 100,000 plus people.
Yeah.
Tying and not tying, but like in the mix to tie on. And so we have the women's leaderboard up. And if I just like go 23A down, I've got from 174, I've got 7 ties at 174, and then 173, 2 ties, 172, 5 ties, 171, 3 ties, 170, 3 ties, 169, 4 ties. Like, and that's just at the top. Yeah. Like, how many people are going to get stuck at that simple numbers? Like, oh, well, I got to my 20 burpees, so I'm good.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, like a friend of mine got 146 and I got 133. That's a difference of 13 reps. And we were 20,000 spots on the leaderboard difference.
20,000 spots?
Damn.
13
reps.
And I think that 130, between 130 and 136 or 7 or 38, like that's super common. Just in between one rep there has got to be 1,000 easy. Easy. That's crazy.
Right. And so that's the part A. And the other thing too is that, other tiebreakers that were really simple that I feel like weren't complex is the time at which you finished your shuttle runs would be another option for part A. And then that would have changed the way people gamed this
100%.
Which was for the majority of people, walking the shuttle runs actually yielded better scores than them running because there was no incentive to run. There's only incentive to push the burpee pace, which the shuttle run for the first time in the open wasn't used for well, maybe most did, but John, did you retest this?
I did. I was one of the very few that it did not help out, but I didn't have a perfect system though. I burpee pulled up like as fast as I possibly could, and you should just burpee pull up fast, not dead break fast. Like I did 15 in 38 seconds, and I mean, go ahead and try to do that. Like I was sprinting as hard as I could. And then
it might have been a little too fast.
And then my shuttle walk was like 150, and Hiller's shuttle walk was 130 when he was testing it. So I just did it too extreme. I realize that now. It's unfortunate because 13 more reps would have made 20,000 more spots, but it's okay. But I did try it again, and I do think it helped a lot of people. I wonder if it pissed Boz off.
I bet because it's just people gaming it, but
totally,
that's the way this event was structured.
Right.
The shuttle runs, once you got past 20 burpees, were worthless in a sense.
Well,
not worthless. I don't want to say worthless, but the value of the shuttle run decreased significantly once you got to 20 burpees.
It's weird. I saw it. I didn't see it as the value. The value to me became that was where I had to recover so that I could go fast on the burpees because that's where I was going to make up my time. So if I think I was going about 145 on my shuttle, and they were walks. I did the walk too. I'm like, well, it was late. I think I did it on Sunday. I'm like, well, screw it. I'm just going to give it a shot. I'll do the walking thing. And I did what you did, John, which was I went all out on the burpee, and then recovered on the walk, and I was fine. I mean, like the 5s, the 10s, the 15s, not even a problem. Like I felt completely recovered coming back to that. The 20s, I felt it to the end of the 25 was like, okay, now it's actually crappy and like it should be in an open event. But that walk, you're right. Like you needed the walk to be able to come back hard on the burpees. If you were going to go that route, if you were not going to go the all out break pace on the burpee, then you had to go faster on the shuttle run. You had to find a pace to be even between all of them, which is what like Roman and Pat did. They were consistent kind of all the way through rather than, a fast and a recovery and a faster and a recovery.
This is what I love about CrossFitters is that all you short fucks, as soon as you get one thing that is a disadvantage to you, you just start crying about it. So great. Wall balls and rowing. This is so unfair. I'm like, yep, that must be so hard for you. I'm so sorry.
Now, I have a question for you guys. Do you think it would be a better workout if the shuttles increased with the burpee pull-ups? So like 5, 5, 10, 10, 15, 15, 20, 20.
So that's really what I had guessed going in, but I started at 1 and 2. So to me, like 2 burpees, 1 shuttle run, since down and back is 1. So that's kind of a 2. Like if there was an even distribution ascending, I do think you would have had, you couldn't walk.
You can't game that.
You can't game that, right? And so, yes, I agree that they should have increased together. Maybe not by 5s, right? That would be like the expanse of time doing certain things would almost be too much, but a smaller ascending thing that really, not to say like what I guessed because I knew what I was doing, but I just think it's an more even split of effort there.
Well, I think what they needed, if they were going to go that route, if they would increase it, then they would have to do a race to a particular number or shorten down the time frame, because the longer the time frame goes, then that's when you're looking at like, okay, well, how long is the burpee going? Like if it's a short amount of time, or let's say they even did it, they did intervals of some sort where you went 5 burpees and I don't know, whatever, not the 10 that we had to do on this one, but like a shorter one where it was more even, but where you made it to where you had to sprint everything. Because even if they do that, like even with what you're talking about, if you're doing the increasing, that almost sets it where it's like, okay, you set a pace and you have to try and hold it for the extended time
it gets
of that.
too big, too fast, so there's no race element. And that's what I'm saying, starting at 2 and 1, right? The rep count I had of 2-1, 4-2, 6-3, like then you have to stay on it, and you can stay on it because it's short intervals, and you got to be able to build that time in.
Yeah,
I think that would have evened this out more.
How long do you think if we would have gone that way, how long should you think it would have gone? 10 minutes?
I originally had it at 10, but like,
see, I think the shorter amount of time would have been better, because then it would have forced you to race it.
Yeah.
What about
you got to force the race?
21, 15, 9.
Oh, like a descending.
27, 21, 15, 9 shuttle runs and burpee pull-ups.
Yeah.
I think there's.
Just think about it. I mean, I know the shuttle runs take a long time, but you have to run fast.
Yeah.
And 27 burpee pull-ups is not kind to anybody.
No, but I mean, I don't hate that idea.
I think if you were going to do it, you'd have to make it to where it's not an even number, but like what the approximate time frame would be between the two, so that they're about even. So if you're looking, like, say if you're doing,
so it'd have to be more burpee pull-ups for that, then like a lot more.
Yeah. If you were going to go 27 laps, if you're going to do that, you know, like if it was 15. Okay, then go 30. If you went 15, 12, 9, do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then you do 30, 24, 18 on the burpees.
Okay. Yeah. I know we're going down the rabbit hole now, but what if they use the same rep scheme from last year's 0.2, 1 to 10 to 1?
That or that. Or that.
Right?
Gross. Yeah.
But yes. Because like, okay, game. Like now we're going down. Now we have to go. If you walk, you will lose. You will not do well if you walk here.
No.
And you almost have to sprint and then just hope you hold on, and then wherever you die off is your fitness ability.
Well, and that right there, that's the programming part where, and this is not a shot on Boz. I don't know exactly the process of what it's happening, but like just because you come up with a workout that looks decent, like you're not, if for a competition, you're not done yet. You have to think about like, hey, what am I trying to get? What's going to happen on this? What are all of the things that are going to happen, so that you can try to mitigate that stuff? So it's like, all right, are they going to pace the burpees, or are they going to pace the run? If they're going to pace the run too much, or how long, I mean, you see them in the testing. I mean, when I did it, I went down afterwards. I'm like, okay, well, how long was all my running? How long was all my burpees? How long do I want that to be? If I'm walking for 8 minutes and 45 seconds, but I'm doing burpees for 25 or 45, whatever it is, as fast as I can, is that what I was looking for? Or am I looking for something that's going to be 6 minutes of all-out sprint and 6 minutes of all-out burpee sprint?
Yeah.
How do I make that happen that way? And then you build it around that. Or, I mean, like you finagle that, you know, kind of reshape your product a little bit on that, your sculpture. Mm-hmm. That's what I think. That's what I keep seeing happening. Cool event. I like it. I mean, it was fun. Honestly, a positive is I got to see a lot of people got their very first burpee or their very first pull-up.
Cool.
Which is huge. Mm-hmm. So they got to jump. I mean, not everyone did a jumping pull-up, which I think was great, because that's a scale that we use as a jumping pull-up. So that was kind of cool. Granted, it was a little higher than a classic scale jumping pull-up, so that was cool. But people had to jump up to the bar and into like a dead hang and then try to do their pull-up. So we got a lot of people that got that. Mm-hmm. So I like what it was, especially for the community. It was cool. But if you're racing it, you have to think about what are all of the things that are going to happen. What can happen? What might happen? Or what do I want this to look like? And then design it around that.
Yeah. Before we get to the thruster part B, I want to talk. Well, we talked about tiebreakers, right? Like 23, the thruster tiebreaker is your 23A. I think I misspoke earlier, right? That is the tiebreaker for the thruster, right?
Yeah.
It's your number of reps for A. It's that A didn't have a tiebreaker at all, which just totally baffled me why you would think to have it for the thruster and don't have it for the burpee pull-ups. Like you didn't think anybody was going to tie as much as people are going to tie on the thruster. Like,
I know it's so obvious. Like the first thing
right.
I thought of.
Yeah, exactly. And then, we'll wrap up 23A, but it's like, if you want to say you keep the rep scheme and we do what we did, then if you don't want people to game the shit out of your workout, then make the tiebreaker this time at your shuttle runs.
Right.
That fixes everything. Unless someone is like, hey, I don't care about the 10-way tie I may get at my place, but it still is an incentive. It was just weird that they'd have one and not the other, but the same number of ties would happen at both. So like, are we yet making the lift more important than it doesn't need to be? As I transition to the freaking thruster, yet again, we are isolating a strength biased single modality test in the open with hundreds of thousands of people taking the test. And I will die on this hill for the rest of my life, is that you don't do this, because in part A, you have to be fit as all hell to get anything worthwhile on this leaderboard. On part B, you don't have to do shit, but walk out there and do a lift. You don't even have to do CrossFit to get on the top of this leaderboard. You don't even have to PR to get on the top of this leaderboard, because the person at the top of this leaderboard didn't PR. They just lifted more than everybody because they could. And I have this huge problem, is that you're taking 25% of this worldwide test and you're just gift wrapping it to athletes that shouldn't really be at the top of this leaderboard unless they earn the right to be there. And none of them did. And all you have to do is just change the scoring, not the test. If you want to put a heavy lift in there, fine. Change the freaking scoring. That's all you got to do. And you can either combine the scores, total number of pounds plus total number of burpee pull-ups, or total number of reps you got in 23A. If that skews it too much, I heard JR in our comment section, he says, heaven forbid we do this, but convert to kilos. Those numbers get somewhat closer to each other. And then you add those together, and that's your total number of reps for A and B together. And then you get scored on that. So if you're a conditioning freak, of which you have to earn that, right? Like, oh, well, there's specialists doing A's. Like, you know how fucking hard it is to win A in this world? You have any idea how fit you have to be to get there, right? Cool. You don't have to be anything to win part B. Nothing. Nothing is earned over there. I mean, except like decades of strength training. Let me take that back a little bit, right? But you guys get what I'm right? You can fake the best lift in the world by just being a lifter. You cannot just walk out there and win 23A just because you're better than everybody. You have to put yourself through hell to get there.
Well, and think about what the test, and who are we grabbing from this test? Why would you pick a special? It's like you might as well do a handstand hold. It's the same thing. You're going to do a handstand hold for the vast, our wide net that we're throwing out there around the world to see who should be qualifying to that next step. And we're going to have a super specialist type of thing that's not general CrossFit, not our general definition of fitness in one event.
We're heralding specialists in a community CrossFit event. We're like, dear specialist weightlifter, we value what you do more than general fitness. That's exactly what you're saying to the world right now with the scoring system.
You can hop in anytime you want, John. You can hop in.
Here's
the thing: is like John.
Hey, thanks for coming and goodbye.
I know. When I start going,
I benefit greatly from how it is scored. So.
Yes, all right, but I like, and this is a reason why there's a good idea to bring you on, because you are freaking strong, right? Like you almost hit a 300-pound thruster, which is insane, right? Like you. Give me your opinion on this, please.
I agree wholeheartedly with you, but I think part A, I feel the same about part A. Not as much as strongly as you feel about part B, but part A to me is a single modality engine test. I get their shuttle runs and burpee pull-ups, but it is an engine test, nothing else, right? I think if you're going to have, like, I would combine the two if you can. You know what I mean? Like, I love how 16.2 is. I love how 17.3 is with the snatch. And I've heard you say this before, but like snatches and chest to bar, ascending reps, you have to be fit to get to the heaviest weight.
Yeah.
Cleans, toes to bar, double unders, you have to be fit to get to the heaviest weight. But it's still a strength onus. Like, I think the hardest thing about 16.2 is the squat cleans. The hardest thing about 17.3 is the squat snatches. But you have to be fit to get there. And I think that's how a strength test should be in the realm of fitness. So, like, I feel like part A is straight engine test. If you're going to be mad about part B, you have to be mad about part A. But where they could save this is just to average the two scores and make it one score.
Bingo.
Because I was 80th percentile on part A. I am 99.999 percentile on part B.
Jerk.
Right? You average those out, it comes out to like 92 percentile, like across the whole thing. That's fine. I feel like that is an okay test of fitness if you combine those two scores or on one score. If you want to do single modality, then you just have those two, but you average those two scores, and then that's your score for the workout. And I think that saves everybody. You know what I mean? You can be a specialist where you can be, and you can show out. You can say, I won part B, but you didn't win the whole workout. Same thing for part A. And then the best person, who's probably like Jeff Adler or somebody like that, that guy wins the workout. And that's how it should be. That's the fittest guy in that particular, in engine and strength, single modality together. In my opinion.
I completely 100% agree. That was the first thing I thought of when I saw that. I'm like, and the way they're going to score it, oh shit, it's two scores. Like, here we go again. And you're right. I don't disagree with your argument of saying that A is virtually specialist as B is virtually specialist. Like when we did the 7 minutes of burpees, that race. Okay, there's going to be a certain type of person that's going to do really well at that, and we can call them a specialist at that, 100%. And the easy fix would be, okay, if that's fine, if you want to have the two pieces and if you want to showcase the pieces, then take those two scores and put them together. To me, that's a simple fix. It's a simple fix. And you don't have to worry about tie breaks on all the other things or nearly as much at all. And you put them all together. I mean, because you just blend the two, and then you get your strength piece that's mixed in. You get your engine piece that's mixed in. And I mean, for me, honestly, it should be during the open, it should be as many mixes of metabolic, weightlifting, and gymnastics as possible rather than a specific one thing. Because the second you do that, then we do get specialized. And that's not to say that I don't like events that have that. There are a lot of events that I really think are cool. But the one that we keep bringing up is the double under toes to bar weightlifting one.
Yep.
So you have a metabolic, you have a gymnastic, and you have a weightlifting. And that weightlifting increases, so you get to showcase strength on that as well. Like, if we are all saying and pushing and really are showing that is one of the best ones that's out there, I mean, what's the framework of that? That's the framework. And this element does have, if you take the two and you put them together, then it has that framework as a single event, not as a single scored burpee run and the single scored weightlifting. I totally agree with you, dude. I 100% agree with you. So good call, John. And fuck, that's a good thruster. Damn it.
Yeah. I'm going to put this comment up. Shelly.
My first score. That's my mother. You can tell her to get out of the comments, please.
I don't think you have fully grasped what we were talking about. We are not talking about the fittest in the world. We're talking about the open. And I would like to see what your scores were. And congratulations for doing great. But I would love to see what both your numbers were. Put those in the chat, please. And we can talk about them if you want to.
I think the reason that, to get strong, it does take years, right?
I said that, by the way.
100%. And I'm repeating it for Shelly. And then on the other side, the fitness part, like an engine takes time to build that as well. But when we are talking as CrossFitters, you know, work capacity over broad times and motor domain, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. We want to look at a blend of that. We want to be the defiant of the specials. Our specialty is good at everything. That's what we want to be showcasing. Showcasing, I think, is the key word on that. If we do a strength event, a single 1 rep max, when you only have 4 scored events, and it has 300,000 people that are involved in it, that's a heavily weighted 1 rep max.
Bruce, I'll come after you too. This is not a great point. You guys are missing the point. All of you. The point is,
John, you don't have to speak though, dude, if you don't want to get in trouble over there.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
We're talking about the open. We're not talking about the CrossFit Games. The fittest person on the planet should win A and win B when they're compared against the other fittest people on the planet. The fittest people on the planet will never beat specialists in this. You don't independently score these. And I'd love to see what y'all's reaction is with your great point bullshit. Javier, you too. I'll call you all out. Is that if they put, I've said this before, a 1,000-meter row time trial by itself as a test, I would love to see all of your reactions to that. I would love it because it'd be completely different. Completely different. Or a 1 attempt max unbroken bar muscle
ring muscle ups. Yeah.
Or ring muscle ups.
It's the same thing.
Handstand push-ups. It's the same thing.
It's not the fact that it's a lift.
Don't understand what we're talking about.
It's a single piece, a single modality
piece.
Single
modality test. You don't isolate single modality test specialists in a test that has a pool of 100,000 plus people in it. You don't do that. If you want to do that, then balance it out with either 2 more and score them all together, not isolated. You don't do that. And the fact that we have to talk about this year in and year out in the open drives me crazy. And again, I'll say that this is my opinion, but I'm more than happy to sit here and tell you that if you're pushing back on this and your example is that you need to be strong to be fit, you're completely missing the point.
Let me ask you something. Ask you something. If after the first burpee pull-ups, after the first shuttle run and burpee pull-ups, they did 10 thrusters at 95. And after the second round, they did 8 thrusters at 135.
Fucking great. I already know where you're going. Great.
You build up, and it ends at 265. 2 thrusters at 265.
Yes.
At like the 25 burpee mark. You know what I mean? A lot of people made it through 25 burpees and then have a 20-minute cap. Everybody would get to play. If you are strong enough, you'll make it through those 2 thrusters.
Yep. So you could do just that, just exactly what you're talking, which would be super fun. That would be really, really cool. And that would be a good fix. And a lot of the fixes that we'll try to do on here is what's the most innovative way to change it. And the easiest way is just blend the scores. Yeah, that's easy. I love your choice on that one too, John. That
workout,
gymnastic, run, and weightlifting. Bring it.
Program the open is what we're getting at.
I mean, you already think like people in Part A can just like walk out there and do it. So I don't.
I don't. I think it takes years to get that fit, and the reason Part A is just harder to do. I think it's the point you're trying to make. It's still a specialist. In my idea. It's still a specialist. It's just a harder thing to be special at.
Okay.
Like when you do it, you work harder.
You can't fake it.
Right. But like
you can't be average. Average. Well, we got to influence on the leaderboard.
Well, we haven't even gotten to the fake thrusters that we have been seeing all over the place. I know we'll get to that. So, but I'm just saying to your point, you can't fake it. I don't have the strength. I can't fake the strength. So I don't think that that's the point. I agree honestly with what John is saying, that the one test, like they are the same test on different sides. It's almost like you're doing your 1,000-meter row. It's an engine test.
Yeah.
I mean, for some, they were getting the pull-ups and it was a pull-up thing, all that kind of stuff. Like I get all that. But it was an engine test and then it was a strength test. And in the open, with such a small amount of scored events And granted, you're qualifying 10% of the people to the next stage. I get it. But you don't need to have a special an event that is specialized like that. Blend the two somehow. I mean, honestly, I think they should all be blended. Because you get to the specialty events as you get into semis and as you get into the games. Like when you start getting up to the top and you have the high level people that already showed that they have capacity in the stuff. Okay, now you can do your 30 ring muscle ups for time and your 1,000-meter row if you want, or your 1 rep max, whatever.
You've
already done 9 tests by then.
Like, don't do that in the open.
Yeah.
Even my example, but you got to have balance.
Yep.
And yes, the work capacity, it is more on a work capacity test. There is a bias there. Absolutely. Unlike 23-1, which is wonderful, right? And I think the idea was, well, if we put this here and we put this here, it's balanced, and it's not. But if you just change the scoring, right? We'll close this out and then we'll talk about the thruster. All you have to do is change the scoring. Either average them out or add them together and make them work together. You already showed us that you realize that this is kind of one side, this is the other. Yet you're heavily weighting the other one. Way more. Way more. It's just
blend them.
Just blend them. That's all you have to do. We're not trying to like recreate anything. Just blend them. And then I won't hate it as much.
And neither will John. And then neither will John.
Yeah,
he'll be up 20,000 points.
I hated this one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's whatever, right? But
yeah, honestly though, if you're being honest, but if you blend them, I don't have a 20,000th place anymore. Now, I do not have my 300th place that I'm very proud of, but I will have like 1,000th in the world place, which is what it, you know what I mean? Which is fine.
But if you do it on a, I mean, instead of like 100-point scale, you go 50. So you just basically split it in half, whatever your number is. Then you still, we're still going to see who had the biggest lift. Those people will still be able to raise their hands and it's all there. And then we're still going to see the freaks that get 180 whatever on the part A, or whatever numbers that they get on that, however they scored their shuttle.
Did Josh just get 190?
He did. Did you see how he got it? He had to run through his doorway to go into another room to get the 25.
Take that street part.
It was awesome. Okay. Moving on. We already know how to test strength in the open. I don't understand why we can't just do that every time.
I don't disagree with you there. I do think the best strength those are the best strength tests. I do.
Yeah.
The best
especially for the open
programmed just to test the fittest in the world with one test was 16.2.
I think so.
It was the best one. And if you looked at the top 10 there,
well balanced.
Well, yes, and that's usually
that's what we're looking for though, right?
Most well balanced, right? And you look at the top 10 there, you look at the top 10 at the CrossFit Games, and it was almost the same. And you took a sample size of 150,000 people, men and women, in the CrossFit Games, and the top 10 there were almost all in the top 10 in that event. That's all you need to do, right? That's how good it was. And why can't we just replicate something like that? You can do so much fun stuff with that format. WMG triplet ascending. Boom. Why okay.
Part B,
thruster. In a world where we have a hard time.
Now we get to have fun with this one.
Yeah. In a world where we have a hard time defining what a woman is, I always rested on mathematics being pure and CrossFit movements being pure. One of them being what a thruster is. And since the dawn of CrossFit, it has been a front squat into a push press. In every level one I taught when I was on seminar staff for 7 years, we taught it the same way. In our breakout groups, in the warm-ups, we would say, you do a bunch of front squats, and then you do a bunch of push press, and then you put it all together for a thruster. And then in 2011, we had the wonderful ladder that was the thruster ladder. Mm-hmm. And what was the toughest rule that they put in there, Bill, for the thruster?
Can't move your feet.
Can't move.
You cannot move your feet.
And I say toughest rule because it was tricky. But when we look at what it was, it made it really, really easy to judge. You squat, you stand, you press. You cannot move your feet once you come above parallel. You can't make a step once you lock out. You can't do anything. You just stand up and press it out. And this is old footage from 2011 that I found from some random dude on YouTube, but we're playing it. Yet in the open, when we could barely do shuttle runs right, we decided not to make rules easy for CrossFit to judge, let alone judges to judge. And I don't understand why we went backwards.
Me neither. They even had a 1 rep max thruster at the games for the Masters 2015. Same thing. Cannot move your feet. That was the rule. And what it did was it stopped any sort of a step, because if you step out, it ends up being a jerk. It's a split jerk. And I've talked to a lot of people about this, and they're like, well, no, you're not really split jerking. It's not this, it's not that. And I'm like, okay, well then how far, at what point does that step become a split jerk? Well, when you're really extended. I'm like, well, what does that even mean? So to cut all of the gray out, you draw the line and you just say feet cannot move. And if your feet can't move, that takes a lot of that stepping and rebending and trying to stabilize the weight as it's going up overhead out. You're going to have some people that will still kind of bend the knees, and you have to watch that, whatever. But it takes a lot out. A lot. Because if your argument is, well, no, I didn't jerk it. I was stabilizing. I had to step to stabilize the weight. No, you didn't. You did a shallow split jerk.
Oh my God.
Is what you did.
He took a step and he got a no rep. What a perfect way to end the video. Now, here's the deal. And this is what you're talking about, Bill, is that when you are pressing the thruster out, the rules are you cannot rebend your knees. You cannot have a rebend of the knee. If you take a step, what do you think you're doing?
I'm peg leg walking. What are you talking about? Like a pirate.
It's like, oh, well, I can take a step without bending my knee. I was like, show me. And then show me you can do that with 225 plus pounds over your head.
That'd be impressive if you could peg leg.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. And so
I would give that person the thruster. If they could do that, I would give it to them.
I'll give it to you. Okay. But you cannot take a step without re-bending your knee. And the one thing that discredits a thruster or a push press is once you extend the knee to press out, you cannot rebend the knee. And it's one of these things where I get frustrated because I want this to be so successful. I want Boz to have his limelight. I want the CrossFit Games to just be talked about with fanfare and all the stuff that I put into the open leading in. And maybe that's why I'm kind of pissed off too, is that I was so hyped up to do this. And then you have these little things that people, us included, are sitting here talking about. Instead, we should be talking about people's weights that they were throwing up. Can you imagine putting 375 over your head, just getting out of your car, let alone doing 100 plus reps on part A? Like, those are the things I want to talk about and be like, how amazing this is. Instead, we just put these roadblocks in front of us that just make it messy.
I just think, again, that's looking at when you're designing the test, not just going, oh, a heavy thruster, that would be good. Because that's not the end of the conversation. It's going to be, all right, with 300,000 people or whatever the number is, what are people going to do? How are they? I mean, people are going to,
how can
not,
you
whether it's on purpose or not on purpose. I mean, I know some people will, and some people are just like, I have that in the gym all the time when I'm like, we're doing, push presses and people are jerking. Like, I didn't bend my knees at all. I'm like, yeah, they do. Yeah, they did. But you have to think about, what are they going to do? So how do you stop that? Either you have to make a big deal about it, either by mitigating a step or trying to do anything like that. The step does take a lot of that out. But then pushing virtuosity without the comment of, we all know what a thruster is. Like, that doesn't work. Like, that comment cannot be used, because it's like, all right, guys, here's how you do a muscle up. You just do it like this and you do it. Like, that's not how you do it. Go through all of those things and say, without a shadow of a doubt, this is the line. If the second you are in a competition, it's black and white. There should be no gray. So to say that you got to know that people are going to do that. So how do you mitigate that? You either really push this or make it a way that it doesn't matter if they step. Make it a cluster jerk. So you can bend your knees all you want, and then who gives a shit? But you have to think about that. That's like foreshadowing what might happen, thinking ahead of what could happen, and then trying to mitigate that before you send it out to the masses. Because once you get it out there, it's gonna happen.
But it just says right here, a rep must have completed a one fluid motion from the bottom of the squat. A front squat followed by a jerk is not allowed. What constitutes a jerk is the rebending of the knee. That's it. That's how you do a push jerk. You extend the knee.
You cannot walk.
You rebend the knee to receive the bar overhead. Walking is rebending the knee. And they just
say, don't move your feet.
Don't move your feet. We already figured this out 12 years ago.
I agree, but it should be written right there.
Yes.
And I mean, I think the announcement hurt CrossFit a lot because not the open announcement when they did it, because when Vellner's rep counted,
yes,
it opened up this whole can of worms. If
the
that
second
counts, then I'm not gonna not count mine. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I agree.
And I feel like people are fair in saying that, but that's where CrossFit needs to be like, it doesn't count.
100%. The second that counted, I mean, I'm watching. The second that counted, I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Shit, here we go. I mean, because it basically turned into Brooke Wells shows capacity. Well, yeah, he's strong enough, so it's gray. Yeah. Everything is now gray. There is no line drawn in the sand. There's no black or white. There's no made it or didn't make it. It is everything was, well, I just stepped. And this is no bad on Pat. It should have been a no rep. That should have been a judging boom, no rep.
We're talking about what was allowed, not what people did.
Yeah, totally.
People did what they did because they were allowed to do it. That's what we're talking about. I'm not shitting on anybody that did this.
Totally.
We'll draw attention to those that did and show you as an example why this actually should not count. But I'm not going to fault any athlete for doing this because this is the loophole they were given.
Especially if it's not intentional. I mean, you can tell when people are trying to jerk that thruster. It's
right.
But, right. You can tell, like, you can tell when it's not intentional, when it is intentional. And I agree. If they allow it, it makes this controversy happen. Weights would be less if they said that does not count. You can't move your feet. If you move your feet at all, it doesn't count. The weights would not be as high, but we would not have controversy on any.
I mean, we still saw some heavy ass weights.
Right. Well, the winner, Rubio, I don't think he moved on 375.
No, dude, his 375 was amazing.
Yeah. He didn't move. Amazing. And then the guy that got what's his name that got put on morning shotgun? Presley, yeah. And then he takes that big step.
And then he
redid it. And this is props to that dude because I mean he got put on blast and
he got called out a lot and was like, watch
fault,
this.
Right? Like he was that wasn't his fault, but I'm sorry, bro. But he comes back, redoes it, hits the 355, and then comes back and hits 360.
Yeah.
So I don't think really the weights are that much different. It's just that people are taking steps because they're allowed to, not that they necessarily need to. Right. So when you have the freedom to do that, yeah, maybe some of them would. Obviously, people would get an advantage by taking a step because it is rebending of the knee, which makes it easier to press it out. Period. Okay, so simple fix, right? All this circling and frustration. Don't move your feet. Don't rebend your knees.
It's not hard to enforce rules either.
It's not.
Just say you can't do it.
Rules, it makes it hard to enforce them.
Yeah, and the fact was that the very first thruster that was done for us to see that was allowed. Okay. And it's the whole give them an inch and they'll take give them a foot, they'll take a mile kind of thing, and that's exactly what it was. And I mean, and then the fact that everyone puts it on Instagram, I'm like, you guys, you're gonna get blasted. Do you understand where we are right now?
I didn't put my thruster on Instagram. There's a reason for it.
In the group, we're like,
there's a reason for it.
Yeah, technically,
and listen, but like to Chase's point, if that makes it a no rep, which it should, I'm still sitting at 277. Y'all have seen my lifts.
Yes.
You know what I mean? My 277 is perfectly clean, and that 297 is just like, it shouldn't count. You know what I mean? It really shouldn't.
Yeah.
But CrossFit has opened up this can of worms.
So take the test for what it is. You want to make 2 part A, part B? Fine. Change the scoring system, make a tiebreaker for 23.A, and put some rules in to make it a legitimate thruster. You don't have to change anything else. You don't have to change your workouts. You don't have to change your strength test. Nothing. Just those 3 little things would have fixed so much noise that I hate to be a part of, but these are things that need to be said, or else we will just be still punching ourselves in the face 10 years later.
What's wrong with your arm?
I had shoulder surgery 4 weeks ago.
Oh, okay. I was just curious.
You were like, I can't raise my hand.
No. I know you said something was wrong. Like you couldn't do the workouts because of that.
I had rotator cuff repaired 4 weeks ago.
Gotcha.
So I started the 1-arm burpees. Not awesome.
Not good. I guess you can't do that either on the 1-arm.
Yeah, I got my 1 in and a 45-pound barbell thruster, and I was like, cool.
Asked some people about this. So if you look at the definitions of the burpee pull-up, it doesn't say you have to pull.
Yeah.
So you probably could just jump really high and touch it, and it would count.
I did.
Is that what you did? I didn't know if you did them or not.
Right.
I got to keep my streak alive. 13 years and going. If I don't post a score, I'm out. I think. All right. So we got about 5 minutes or so here. Bill's got to bounce. Let's take some guesses at 23-3. The one thing I wanted to put up here to make things interesting is the week of CrossFit affiliate programming leading into what we have here. So I would assume there's probably hopefully some people talking. It's like, hey, maybe let's not program the same thing back to back. I don't know. I don't know if they talk to each other. I would kind of hope they do if they're working together. But so leading up to what is going to be programmed for Friday and released on Thursday is Monday was a 3-rep heavy overhead squat for 7 sets. Okay. Tuesday, 60 calorie row, 42 for the women, and then 21, 15, 9, 3. Toes to bar, dumbbell box step overs or step ups at 24 and 20 and 15, 35, which I already have a problem with. And then 30 alternating dumbbell snatches with a cash out of 60 and 42 cal row. It says 1 dumbbell for the step ups and the snatches. So you've got some dumbbell work program there. Wednesday, 40 meter run, 20 dumbbell hang power cleans. Oh, wow, we have back-to-back dumbbells. 100 meter dumbbell front rack carry, 4 rounds for time. And then Thursday, leading into the open announcement, is AMRAP in 10 minutes, 20 wall ball shots, 14 and 20 pounds to a 10 and 11 foot target. Why? And then 10 strict pull-ups. God,
they did that just to piss Chase off.
Why?
24 and 20 inch box with weighted box step ups, which is already
for the women.
And then they raised. And in the backside, we have AMRAP in 15 minutes with a partner workout, clean and jerk, synchronized sit-ups, box jump overs. Okay. So with that information, anybody like to take a quick stab at 23-3?
What do you got, John?
10, 20, 30, 20, 10. Pistols and handstand push-ups.
Oh my God. I thought you didn't like specialist workouts.
Only and throw in 50 double unders between every set.
Okay.
All right.
So 10 pistols, handstand push-ups, 50 dubs.
10, 20, 30, 20, 10, so 90.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of something that ties skill that elites could sprint, what everybody can still do. It just might take a long time for others because we haven't done anything short. We haven't done anything like heavy squatting, like just volume squatting.
Right, volume squatting.
Usually there's always something that hurts your legs in the open.
Usually week 3.
And we haven't done anything high skill. Like everybody's been able to RX every single workout up to this point. You were not fit enough to get to the ring muscle ups if you were worried about getting there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like everybody's been able to RX everything. Week 3 is usually when it's a differentiator between the elites and everybody else. So those are 2 high skilled movements. I'm not going to say whether they're strict handstand push-ups or not. I would like them to be strict, but we'll just throw it up, leave that in the air. And then, yeah, I think that would be short for elite athletes. It'd be a sprint. Don't you guys think?
Agree.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree that it will probably be something fast.
We haven't had a box yet either, though.
Right. So I was thinking, there would be double unders. I think I can't see them not putting those in. I think that there will. I was thinking of this: 150 double unders, 50 of something, 30 of something. So 150, 50, 30. And I was thinking either lightest weight deadlifts for the 50, and then box jump overs for the 30, or doing a
and that's it.
like a yeah. I would
love goblet squats.
Like a goblet squat into a dumbbell snatch. I could see something like that.
Oh.
What about a goblet squat into a box jump over? You get the legs nice and juicy before you got to sprint.
I would be having to make sure I do my tape and gauze supply on my.
I guess is that too dangerous? You think that'd be too dangerous?
Well, no. I mean, do I think it's good? Yeah, I totally think it's good. Do I think anyone will think about that? Probably not.
Would you do kettlebell deadlifts or dumbbell deadlifts?
Oh man, that would be good too. Dumbbell deadlifts. Yeah.
Like, and both heads have to hit the floor.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yes. So like the idea is that like for the elites, unbroken on the dubs, unbroken on the deadlifts, and just it's something that you have to crush it. I don't know if it'll be handstand push-ups because one, I don't know about they already had an issue with like, okay, well, how high should the bar be over your head if you're doing the burpees? And then what standard are we going to use for the handstand push-up? I just don't know if
do the big box, the games box.
Dude, let's just go with what we've been getting, and no one's worried about that. Right? Nobody cares.
I think that handstand push-up would be kind of cool. Like if it was double unders, deadlifts, and then handstand push-ups, I think that would be pretty sick. 150, 50, and 30. I think that'd be fun. Yeah. I'll go with your dumbbell deadlifts. I like that.
Ooh.
I like that.
I think the 2 heads on the floor is a game changer if people don't train that way.
Absolutely.
100%.
Huge difference.
Yeah. How many people do you know cheat that all the time?
Yeah.
On dumbbell snatches, nonetheless, dumbbell deadlift.
Yeah.
All right. So I feel like we're going to get a ascending skill challenge. I don't think it's going to be on the pull-up bar. I think it'll be inverted for the first time. So I have segments, kind of like I had that first time, Bill. 30 dumbbell squats, 50 and 35, 100 single unders, 30 dumbbell push press. If you complete that in 5 minutes, you advance to the next one. 30 dumbbell squats, 150 single unders, 15 wall walks. So cut the number from 30 to 15 in 5 minutes. So now you're at 10, 30 dumbbell squats, 100 double unders. So we went back down to 100, but increased the double unders, 30 kipping handstand push-ups. So we went back up to 30. And then the last 5 minute block is 30 dumbbell squats, 150 double unders, and then 15 strict handstand push-ups.
I would have liked to have that be 23 too.
Yeah.
Just
bank time.
So so it's 20 total minutes, but you can bank time, right?
Yeah.
So I put 5 minutes that people should all get through the first 5 minutes. And then 15 wall walks is not a little for.
No, that's the hardest part of the workout.
Right? and you're going to have 5 or more minutes to possibly get through that and hopefully get through the squats. Now you're getting challenged with double unders, and now you get to the kipping handstand push-ups.
Oh, that would be easier to put them there.
Right.
What about wall walks? Do you think they do wall facing handstand push-ups?
In the
Or is
open,
that too
nah.
gimmicky?
No, not yet.
I don't think they would do that in the open.
Not yet.
Do you think they do it in quarterfinals?
No, I think it has to hit semis first, right? We did in games. It'll hit semis hit quarters. Like that's usually they're like, hey, shot across the bow. I could see maybe one more year. Yeah.
Okay.
But I would just like to see a skill.
I like that.
It's 120 dumbbell squats. So like we're smashing the legs, holding them in the rack positions, getting the shoulders tired, single unders, let people buy in, add more volume, advance to double unders, add more volume.
No, I like the single under into the double under.
Just gives everybody a shot to play, and it's not going to be easy if you're good at it.
Yeah. I mean, Tudor Magda is not even going to make it through the first round with single unders. So that sucks.
It doesn't say I'm broken. It doesn't say I'm broken. But something I would like to see. I think it'd be more simple. Barbell spin had a really Brian spin had a really cool one. It was simply said 3 rounds for time, 10 wall walks. He had 50 double unders, and then he had 10 wall walks, 30 alternating dumbbell snatch, 50 double unders. And I said, crank it up to 100, and I'll call it.
I just really don't want to see wall walks again.
Yeah. I had that right. I had that when we were doing our original prediction. I had that in deadlifts. I still think that would be a good one.
Hey, that one's back on the table. Your second guess is still on the table.
Yeah, we haven't deadlifted yet.
And your one from last week too.
Yeah.
Your one from last week.
I don't know if they I would have a really hard time putting wall walks 3 times in a row.
3 years in a row.
Like that to me, it's like, okay, stop. So
let's go back to handstand walking, please.
I could have put another one. What I was thinking, I was like, okay, we need some high volume squatting. I still think double unders, like we're either going to have chest to bar pull-ups or double unders not programmed for the first time.
No, chest to bar. I don't think we'll do pull-up.
We'll do chest to bar. Yeah, because we did that.
That's a burpee.
I don't
think we'll have burpees either. Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. And stretch out 25 feet again, even though like a walking lunge or something like that would be pretty cool, or a handstand walk. I totally agree. I'm not sure I see them stretching out an affiliate in a garage gym door twice.
Yeah. I think they'll do a 25-foot thing. Yeah. No, I agree.
But we'll see. I think it'll be double unders.
When's the last time we haven't used a box?
That's a good question.
In the open would be the dumbbell snatch, box jump over.
No, when's the last time we haven't used a box?
Oh.
That's a good question.
I feel like there's a box every year.
No, is that handstand push-up one in 20, or is that 19?
20.3 was a handstand push-up.
The strict one? With the box step
Diane, basically Diane. Yeah.
Oh,
no, you're talking about a different one.
I think 2020 maybe?
That was the
they had
box step ups, right?
And the box step ups in between.
19.3.
Yeah. So
I would love that one to repeat. I know they're not going to repeat it, but that's a fun one. 50 strict handstand push-ups and the handstand walking. That's the one you're talking about?
Strict handstand push-up test.
Yeah.
But all right, those are our guesses. We appreciate you guys for joining us and listening to us work our way through this. Again, simple fixes for a more pleasurable experience for the CrossFit Open, for the world around you, so that CrossFit can enjoy their moment, and just so that we can talk about something else than be frustrated with something that we care deeply about. And I think that's the big thing we all want to focus it back to, is that the reason why these things get frustrating is because we do care and we do want this to be great, because we do love it. And when simple things like this that should not happen, opinions be damned, things like this shouldn't happen, that's when I think we all get frustrated a little bit, because we know these are things that shouldn't happen.
I just want to talk about how great everyone's been doing, not like how wrong this is and how
Like I have no
negative
idea
that
who's
is.
in the
Like,
top 10 on the leaderboard.
me
because
neither.
that's all we fucking talk about.
Yeah, which sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John, thank you so much for joining, hopping on. Bill,
Sir.
sorry I put you 7 minutes late behind. Hope you didn't get
No,
in
you're
trouble.
good. You guys are good. I was glad
And,
I was glad we were able to make it work, man. It was getting like,
yeah, no.
I don't know if it's gonna happen.
Schedule's like we gotta do this one. So all right, hey, thank you for the 100+ people that joined the show. You guys can go pop over to see Savon's gig, and thank you guys all for joining us for here. We appreciate your passion, your questions, your pushback. We do appreciate that. It improves the discussion. If we're all just agreeing with each other, I don't think it would be that much fun to listen to, honestly. So I do appreciate that. Whether you agree with us or not, we appreciate that you're here.
100%.
Take care. Good luck in 23.3. We'll see you on the flip side.
Bye, guys.